If you're currently running Microsoft Dynamics GP and evaluating a move to Business Central, one of the biggest questions we hear is a fast, structured 90-day transition actually realistic for our organization? Today, I'm joined by my colleague, Brandon Richards, one of our GP to Business Central experts who has been working with Dynamics for over 20 years. We're going to talk about what finance teams are experiencing right now, when a 90-day rapid start makes sense, and what our fit assessment evaluates before anyone commits to a certain timeline. Brandon, I just want to say thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. All right, so let's start with what you're seeing in the market today, Brandon. You work closely with organizations running Microsoft Dynamics GP. What are you hearing most often from finance teams right now?
So a lot of the organizations we work with want to use new technology, and they want to do this to help improve both accounting and business processes, things like AP approvals, for example. But they want to be able to complete these approvals from any device, anywhere. GP has adapted as best it could for many years, but it's an entirely dated technology that was originally written back in the 1980s. BC, on the other hand, is entirely cloud-based, so it can help overcome the technology limitations of a legacy ERP. Clients also want to see more native experience using their ERP data in Microsoft Excel, and they can then do things like import inventory items or updating items, importing GL distributions, things like that. But they want to do so without the cost of an integration tool or heavy customization. BC capability to open and edit BC data in Excel is huge, and finance teams often live in Excel. They also love the Role Center and the dashboards in BC as they provide various insights tailored to individual job functions, along with one-click access to the tasks that users do most frequently. And while GP is an incredibly strong accounting product with a solid user base, there are definite limitations that moving to a modern ERP such as Business Central can help them overcome.
So you mentioned quite a few points about finance teams and a little bit about when it comes to the some of the features that IT teams would use. Would you say, you're seeing more pressure from finance or IT teams at this current point in time?
So I'm more technical, so I tend to see more on the technical teams, the IT teams, really getting rid of old hardware, moving to the cloud if they can. That's the strongest, but we do see a mix of both, actually.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And, I think that leads into something else that we're hearing a lot lately is sort of the uncertainty. Everybody knows that GP end of life is coming. Teams want to modernize, but they're not sure whether a fast scoped approach is realistic. So why would you say so many GP teams are struggling to know whether or not a 90-day move to Business Central is actually realistic for them?
Yeah. So like you said, most of us don't like uncertainty, and determining whether that rapid start program is a good fit, that honestly is the first step. What we do is we'll review the modules that you're using in GP, and then we help guide your decision-making process to determine if the rapid start program is a good fit or if it's not. If it is, we do a clearly defined scope, and then the project can kick off. Now, I would recommend if you have a slower time of the year that you do your migration during that period when your team can learn and test BC without getting overwhelmed or losing focus. Also, securing buy-in from you and your team is vital to the program's success and to confirming that the timeline is actually realistic. We want to be aligned with your organization to ensure that your adoption to BC is successful and within that targeted time frame.
Yeah, so let's talk directly about sort of the 90-day rapid start, because we know there's been a lot of interest in sort of that structured approach, but
Yeah.
it's not right for everyone. So when does a 90-day rapid start actually make sense and when doesn't?
Yeah, so there's clients that utilize core functions in GP like GL, AP, and AR. These are going to be ideal candidates for that 90-day rapid start. In some cases, they may be smaller organizations using GP with just a couple of employees. A lot of times those people wear multiple hats, but they can also be larger organizations that may use other systems to actually get data into GP, into that core financial modules. If a client is using more complex integrations or if they have customizations to GP, these are going to take time to review and then redesign whenever you move to a new ERP. So clients like that would not be a good fit for that 90-day rapid start. We would work together with you to kind of determine if it's going to be a good fit or not.
Yeah, and sort of a follow-up question there. Would you say having ISVs would sort of automatically disqualify someone for this program, or would you say that, sort of more research would have to be done?
Yeah, great question. No, there's going to be common ISV products that almost the entire GP base utilizes. So things like Smart List Builder and Extender from E1, those are both products that they're heavily utilized across the GP base. Those aren't going to restrict you from doing the 90-day rapid assessment. There's going to be more complex or more third-party products that modify the core functionality in GP. Those are going to be the ones that we want to watch out for, and they would probably not fit that 90-day rapid start.
Yeah, okay. So it makes a lot of sense that, before anyone sort of commits to a timeline, that we need to conduct the fit assessment that you talked about. So what does the fit assessment actually evaluate before anyone sort of commits to this 90-day rapid start program?
Yeah, so our team is going to work with you. We complete what's called a fit assessment. This looks at both an automated tool and more detailed sort of interview questions about your current use of GP. And we also want to know any challenges or complexities that you're currently faced with. We want to have a solid understanding of how you're currently using GP, and then also make sure that there aren't any third-party products or customizations that heavily change how that core functionality works. We're going to work together to assess any risks that we do determine during that assessment phase, along with who the key players are that will help ensure a successful completion of the project within a 90-day targeted time frame. The fit assessment that ultimately helps set you up for successful implementation of BC, and it also helps identify any risks or challenges that could interfere with the project. It honestly is the most critical piece to helping determine whether that 90-day rapid start is going to be a good fit for you or not.
Yeah, it definitely sounds like a lot of good conversation will happen through that fit assessment. So what would you say that for the teams that go through this assessment, what clarity do they usually walk away with?
So once that assessment is completed, we can then focus on whether the 90-day rapid start is going to be realistic for your organization or not. We're going to make sure that the goals are clear and that the outcome is a success, both with proper setup in BC and training based on the information that was gathered from that assessment. Now, there is always the potential that new discoveries are going to be made during the actual project, but the assessment helps avoid these type of surprises and allows confidence in a path forward with a realistic time frame, also ensuring buy-in from all users. The assessment's a critical piece to the decision-making on whether the rapid implementation is going to be a good fit, and it helps provide confidence in that decision to move forward. We honestly wouldn't recommend it if it's an option, if there's too many risks for a particular client.
Okay, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I mean, there's always good surprises and not so good surprises when it comes to life in general. So we definitely want to avoid a lot of those not so good surprises, especially when it comes to technology and implementation. So one sort of follow-up question based on the clarity that they walk away with. Would you say that this really helps align the internal stakeholders and really helps everyone get on the same page when it comes to this sort of transition?
Yeah, for sure. So you're going to have, as I mentioned earlier, technology stakeholders, your IT team or your third-party IT vendor. They're going to want to be involved. They're going to want to know, are you retiring your GP server? Your accounting and finance team members, obviously things like month-end close. How are they going to use the new system? New features. Again, I mentioned that Excel piece. If you haven't seen it, it's a great part of what allowing Business Central and Excel and how they're tightly integrated. But also you're going to find other stakeholders or other users that maybe don't use the ERP right now that may benefit from getting information out of Business Central.
Yeah, so and you mentioned multiple teams there that sort of would be involved in this whole process. So for the teams watching this, it's definitely helpful to know whether or not they're a good candidate. So
Yeah.
who tends to be the best fit for the 90-day rapid start, and who should technically take a different path?
Yeah. So I mentioned earlier, clients that utilize core financials in GP, these are going to be GL, AP, and AR. They may find the 90-day rapid start is a great option for them. Now, even if you're using native tools in GP like GL copy paste, or if you're importing data in using a program like Integration Manager to one of those core modules, you still could be well suited for the program. As we talked about a little earlier, third-party ISVs, we really need to review those together to determine if you'd still be a good candidate. Many of those third-party ISVs may actually have functionality that was added on to GP that is already native to Business Central. Having that third-party product doesn't exclude you, so please don't assume that you're not a good fit without reviewing it with us together. Now, on the flip side, if you're using GP for manufacturing, distribution, or payroll, more complex processes, or if you've got a long list of modified reports or customizations, you probably want to follow a standard migration path, as this allows the necessary time to rebuild those custom reports and really evaluate your need for any other marketplace apps or customizations when you implement BC.
All right. Yeah, it definitely sounds like there's a lot of opportunities here. And, like you mentioned, ISVs do not automatically exclude you with same with customizations. We'd have to sort of take a look at that. So a lot of great points there. So Brandon, for a GP team watching this and feeling unsure about the timing or scope, what would you recommend as a next step?
So there's never a perfect time to switch your ERP system. And though it might seem like a daunting task, we are here to help. We want to help ensure that you go through a smooth transition. It's also important to remember there are a lot of other companies and organizations that are in your situation as well. You don't want to wait until the last minute or run into a situation where something you're using and you depend on in GP suddenly stops working and you're forced to move without a plan. Your IT team may also be putting pressure on you to move off from hardware that might be out of warranty or operating systems or SQL versions that are no longer supported. Reach out to us. There's a no obligation discussion where we can help you review your GP environment. We'll determine whether the 90-day rapid start is a good fit. And if it is, we can build out a plan for a successful BC implementation.
Thank you so much, Brandon. Some great insights there, very valuable, and I'm sure our audience walked away with very valuable insights. And like Brandon said, if you're currently running Dynamics GP and wondering whether or not this 90-day transition to Business Central is realistic for you and your environment, the first step is just simply to reach out, and we're happy to conduct a fit assessment. It's a structured, no obligation working session, and it'll give you the clarity, just like we mentioned during this video, before committing to anything. So we're happy to have that conversation, whether the timing is right for you. And we want to thank you for watching today. And thank you again, Brandon. And let us know if you guys have any questions.
Awesome. Thank you.